All right, everybody, welcome back. What I'm about to tell you is kind of embarrassing, actually. About a week ago on Instagram and Facebook, I had posted a picture, and you can see that huge puddle right there under the car. You know, it's right under the front of the transmission. I don't know if it's showing up good on video, but there is a ton of fluid right there on the floor. So we knew that the front seal on the transmission had been leaking, but just a little bit. If you remember a couple videos back, I think it was the first time we took it to the track up at English Mountain. You know, I actually had my cousin's wife, she crawled under the car and wiped the pan off, and there wasn't a whole lot on there, it was just a little bit, but I had not replaced that front seal before we put the transmission in. So I was thinking, yeah, I should probably put a new front seal in there. At the track that day, it didn't seem to be leaking that bad. I mean, it was literally like, I don't know, guys, I made like, what, 3 or 4 passes, and when Alicia crawled under the car to wipe it off, there was just like 2 drips on the pan, like 2 little drips, like it wasn't bad at all. Then we got the nitrous kit all hooked up on it. We took it to Knoxville Dragway, and nobody ever said a word to me. Like, I mean, we ran it, what, I think 4 or 5 times. None of the track officials said anything about me leaving anything on the track. I actually put it up on ramps after my first 2 passes so I could wipe the pan off, and I didn't see anything on the pan. I think there was like 1 little drip up at the front of the pan. I didn't see anything else up there, so I didn't think anything about it. Well, I brought the car back home, and you know, we made several test hits trying to get this whole nitrous thing sorted out. And you know, on the last time I took the car out to do nitrous hits, you know, some test hits on it, that's when my wife noticed the huge puddle under the car. Well, I reached under there as far as I could, and I touched it, and it was transmission fluid. So my first thought was, holy crap, you know, that front seal finally just blew all the way out. You know, we've dumped a ton of transmission fluid on the ground. Well, turns out that's not the case. Most of you know I have not been feeling well for the last couple weeks. I'm starting to feel a little better, but I had methanol poisoning. For those of you who don't follow me on Instagram or Facebook, yeah, I actually got methanol poisoning from some bad hand sanitizer. So long story with that, but I'm starting to feel a little better now. So, you know, this whole time I just have not felt like dropping the transmission. Well, I came out here tonight, grabbed my camera, came out here, and I was like, you know, I'm just going to go ahead, drop this transmission, put the new front seal in it, and, you know, film it. I was planning on making it a 2-day event. I was going to drop it tonight, put the front seal in. You know, then tomorrow I was going to go ahead and put the transmission back in, just make it all one video and send it out to you guys. Well, there was a little problem when I crawled under the car. So I get under the car, and I go to look right here, and there's no transmission fluid on the converter at all. It's bone dry. There was just like 1 little drip right here at the front of the pan. Like that was all the transmission fluid that was on the pan. So I look down here, and what I did have, I've already wiped it now, but there was, you know, there was quite a bit of fluid dripping off my drain plug there. So initially, I'm thinking, okay, well, I need to tighten my drain plug up, which I still haven't done yet. So I'm thinking some transmission fluid might be dripping from the drain plug, but I'm like, I've got this huge, you see this, guys? It's like a river right here and a puddle here. And right here, you can clearly see it's red, right? This transmission fluid. Well, here's the problem. This little spot right here is the only spot that's red. All the rest of this is freaking oil. So when I stuck my hand under the car, I just stuck it right here, and I had transmission fluid on my hand. And I just assumed that all this was transmission fluid too, because, you know, I thought, well, maybe I had the car pulled further up when I was in here before I did that last test hit, and, you know, that's why the fluid was all the way up here. But no, guys, that's all oil. Every bit of that down through there is oil. So there's just a small little spot here that's transmission fluid, and like I said, I'm pretty sure that was coming from the drain plug. As a matter of fact, the front seal no longer, I don't know if I'm even getting this on camera, but the front seal no longer looks like it's really even leaking at all, guys. So I'm thinking there might have just been some debris in there between the front seal and the converter snout, and maybe that debris has worked out, because it seems like it has quit leaking. So that's good news, because that means I don't have to drop the transmission right now. Now at some point, I'm probably going to drop it and go ahead and replace the front seal anyway, but for now we don't have to do that. So this whole time I've been sick, and I've been letting the car sit, not driving it, because I thought I needed to drop the transmission, and I just didn't feel like doing it. Turns out that wasn't the case. I just need to tighten up my drain plug there, and I think we're good with the transmission. So that begs the question, where is the oil leak coming from? I've got questions, but I've also got answers. You guys remember a while back, one of the reasons that I actually put the Holly Dash in is because I was tired of messing with the stock gauges. And we had, one of the things that was the issue was the oil pressure gauge wasn't reading. And I said, well, I know I've got it hooked up right. I mean, everything's wired correctly. I don't know why it's not reading. Well, now we know. This is the oil pressure sending unit out of this Camaro originally. And, we drilled and tapped. We drilled and tapped our adapter here and screwed the oil pressure sending unit into it. Well, apparently the oil pressure sending unit got cracked or something somehow. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's actually cracked up here. The plastic part is cracked. And what it has been doing, I don't know if you can see, that's the plug. After I've already wiped it off, it's just soaked in oil, guys. So I think what's been going on is it's actually been leaking oil up into the plug part, where this guy plugs in, and it's just been kind of spraying around right here on the engine, because this whole area of the engine right here was wet with oil. Like I keep saying, I've already wiped it down quite a bit with a rag, but this whole area right here was just soaked with oil. So I think that's where the oil leak was coming from, guys. And so the whole time it was sitting here idling or whatever, while I was tuning on it, it was just dripping oil. It was saturating this area, dripping down, and then dripping off the filter and the bottom of the pan here, and that's where this leak has come from. So should be a real simple fix. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to unscrew that oil pressure sending unit. We don't need it anymore anyway, because we've got the Holly Dash telling us our oil pressure now. And eventually we're going to screw a Dash 4 fitting in here, and that's what we're going to feed oil to our turbos from. But for the time being, we're just going to unscrew that, and I'm going to take a 1/8 a 1/8 NPT pipe plug, and we're just going to screw it in here to block this off, hopefully get rid of our little oil spray issue. And shit, guys, I mean, this car's ready to drive again. Yeah, guys, this is definitely embarrassing, but I mean, all I had to do really was jack the car up, and oh, well, here we go. So here's us a 1/8 NPT to Dash 4 adapter. We can use that later on when we're doing the turbo install. But as I was saying, guys, it's kind of embarrassing, because all I had to do was crawl under there, jack the car up, crawl under there and look, and I would have known what the problem was, obviously, because now I know what the problem is after crawling under there and looking. But the fact of the matter is, I've just really not been feeling well, and that's why I haven't been out here working on stuff like I tell you guys to do all the time. I say get out in the garage and get something done, and here I am, not out in the garage, not getting anything done, right? What a role model this guy is. Okay, well, I've got several plugs here. I've got this guy here. I've got this guy here. I'm not sure which is 1/8, but I've got some fittings that I know are 1/8. So, oh yeah, and I've got that guy right there I can use. So we'll see which one threads in. Okay, so this guy's a 1/8 if I want to use him. I'd rather use one of these style plugs here if it's a 1/8. And it is. That's a 1/8. So that's probably what we're going to go with. Don't know what size Allen it is. I think that's him right there. Alright, yeah. That's probably what we're going to use. Sorry guys, I'm still not 100%. Well, what's this guy? He's longer, more likely to seal. Yeah, we'll use him. Like I said, I'm still not 100%, but I'm tired of not driving this car, and now I feel like an even bigger ass, because the whole reason I've not been driving this car is because, you know, I didn't think I could. I thought it was dumping transmission fluid everywhere, and turns out it was 100% not dumping transmission fluid. Well, not 100%. You know, we still have a leak, but I'm pretty sure that's just the oil pan. So I think once we get that situation remedied, the oil pan drain. So I think once we get that situation remedied, hopefully we'll be good. Now, in case you guys don't know, there's usually a lot of oil trapped up in this oil circuit that goes from the filter up. So there's a pretty good chance when I take this loose, it's gonna dump a bunch of freaking oil. Yeah, just letting you know, it's probably gonna be a gusher when I get this sending unit out. I don't even know how much for sure you guys can see on that camera, because it's kind of like above my head, but get a rag ready here. See how much I can catch in my face here. Take me a nice oil bath right before I go to bed. Okay, I'm gonna look in here. Oh yeah, see if it, I mean, I don't know if you guys can see in there, but like that whole plug area is full of oil. Oh yeah, and hopefully you guys can see that this whole collar is crushed. Like I must have done that when we set the engine in, because like this whole plastic part is crushed. So I've got no doubt in my mind now that's where all the oil was coming from. Oh yeah, and here we go. We got just a freaking mess going on right here. That's all the oil that was in there from the top of the engine right now is just back flowing. Crap. I was really hoping that there wouldn't be that much in there, because I've not started this car in about a week and a half. So much for hoping, right? Wishing one hand, shit in the other. See which one gets full first. Come on, if I can get this plug started. Oh Lord. And it's just all kinds of oil coming out of there. You guys are seeing getting light from my headlamp. So again, I'm not sure how much you can actually see, but oh no. Oh no. There we go. I didn't have it started good. That was the problem. Oh no, I've got oil dripping on me. Whatever will I do now?
We're just making a mess out here in the garage. Out here in the garage. Just making a little old mess.
Alright, let's see if we can actually crank this puppy down now instead of cranking it out. Hopefully it seals for us. If not, I'll have to go back. If it still leaks, because I didn't put any tape, any thread dope or anything on here. If this leaks, then I'll pull it back out off camera and I'll pull it out off camera and put some RTV or something on it, put it back in. And if I'm doing it off camera, I mean, to be honest, I'll probably just let it drain till there's no more oil coming out. It seems to be tightening up pretty good though. So one thing about NPT threads is if you've got enough thread there to really sink it into, you don't always need pipe tape to get it to seal. That was one of the things, somebody actually brought that up when I did the tap on the water. Crap, what am I trying to think of? When I did the tap on the steam port up there, on the little water pump spacers, and I didn't put any thread sealing on it when I screwed it in, but I was like, yeah, it's tight as hell. And there was a guy who likes to, actually it's a guy who never did anything but make negative comments on the channel. I just started ignoring him, but he was like, that's gonna leak, that's gonna leak, that's gonna leak. And I was like, nah, it's not gonna leak, guy. Well, here we are. That up there has never leaked. There's not enough pressure in that coolant system to force a leak on that NPT thread. Now this may be a different story, guys, because you know the oil pressure in this thing, it has hit like 75 to 78. I think is the highest I've seen. It was around 78. You know, with that kind of pressure, I mean, it's possible it could force some oil through these threads. And if that's the case, like I said, it's no big deal, guys. I'll come down here off camera, I'll fix it, and I'll tell you guys about it, because I always tell you guys about everything, good or bad. Oh, like just now, when I told you guys I've not driven this car in like a week and a half because I thought I needed to pull the transmission, and then I finally got out here and jacked the car up and got under it, and turns out it wasn't even leaking from the transmission. You know, one thing you don't have to worry about on this channel is me trying to lie to save face, because I really don't give a shit. All right, so I think that's in there. I'm gonna see if I can get any more turns out of it. It was pretty tight. We'll see. Don't wanna strip it. Oh yeah, that was to the point where it was about to strip the inside of the plug. All right, so I think we're good there. Now we're gonna snug this guy up, and this might just be like a shit. Oh no, this guy's loose as hell. Look at that, man. That dude was loose. That dude was real loose. Like right now, that thing was so loose. Right now, I'm trying to decide if I had left it loose, or if, you know, because this is just like a soft plastic gasket here. So I don't know if I left it that loose, or if it had just, from the heat cycles, you know, this plastic had expanded and contracted or something and made it loose. Because that dude was real loose. No. Maybe snug. See if we can snug him up just a little more. Dang. I don't know if that's going to seal. Well, we might end up doing, if I find this guy leaking again, we might just use like a big a big copper washer on him. Next time we drain the transmission, use like a copper washer, maybe even throw a little RTV on it and let it set up before we fill the transmission back up. Alright, I think that's got that, guys. Just wipe fluid off. Yeah, another thing that was kind of given away, that all that fluid wasn't coming from up that way, is I had fluid. I've already wiped it off, but I had fluid all over the front and, well, it wasn't over the top, but I had fluid all over the front and the bottom of this cross member and all over the back of this oil pan, but there was like nothing up here. Like it was, everything was from behind this plug where the air, you know, had just been blowing over it while it was dripping out or leaking or whatever, and just, you know, throwing it all over everything back here. I mean, there's even a little bit, I think, back here on my torque arm and everything. So yeah, it was definitely leaking from this plug a lot more than it was leaking from up there. I don't even see, like, I don't see any fluid up here. I don't know if you guys, yeah, I probably don't even have the camera aimed right. Yeah, I don't see any fluid. Yeah, there's no fluid up here. There's a little bit right there, tiny bit. That's it. So yeah, I think we're good for now, guys. I think we're gonna let that front seal ride for a while. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. That's pretty much it down here. Talk about just a few more things here. Some questions that you guys have been asking. The number one question I keep getting asked from you guys, and it's mainly on Instagram, is you know, about the China Vet. I've explained that several times, but right now all the money's going into this. We do have to fix the transmission in the China Vet, but we'll get it back in some videos soon. The other question that I was asked several times over the last 2 weeks was about the intercooler. People have been asking, am I going to do air to water, air to air? The eventual plan for this thing is air to water, but for the time being, to save money, because, you know, in case you guys don't know, even using eBay parts, air to water is a lot more expensive. It just is. If you're using a single turbo, you've got to buy an air to water intercooler. If you want to street drive it too, you've got to buy a heat exchanger. You've also got to buy a water tank in the trunk, all the lines to run it up. You've got to buy a pump. In my case, I'm running twin turbos, so I would need to buy 2 air to water intercoolers, or one 2-in 1-out air to water intercooler, which those are, I'm not even going to talk about how expensive those guys are. But as you can see, the cost adds up. Doing air to air, all I have to do is buy a 2-in 1-out front mount intercooler, and just about all my piping in that box, all my aluminum pipe is 3-inch. So I'm gonna have to buy like a 2.5-inch piping kit, and altogether that's like $300, guys. With the air to water, doing it the way I want to do it, which I don't know if I want to talk about that right now, but the way I want to do it, it's going to cost several $1,000s. We'll just say that. I could do it for probably under $1,000 using eBay parts, but it would take up a lot of room in the nose of the car doing it that way. So we'll skip that for now, and the simple answer is we're going to start with air to air. I'm actually ordering the intercooler tonight. It's going to be a dual in, single out. So we're going to have on the bottom, there's going to be a inlet, a 2.5-inch inlet on each side, and it's going to have a top 3-inch outlet coming out. We're going to do away with our hood latch, this cross brace, all that. We're going to mount it down in here. Of course, it will be getting air through these vents here, which, you know, normally there would be running lights mounted in here, but we're using them 100% for airflow. So it'll be mounted there. The only issue we're going to have is that style of intercooler, you can either get it with an outlet that goes straight back, or you can get it with an outlet that goes straight up. The one that goes straight back, the cheap ones, it's $217. Yes, that's a cheap one. But the one that goes straight back is a 3.5-inch thick core. The one that goes straight up is only a 2.5-inch core. I want that thicker core. That'll help cool the air better. So I'm going to get the one that goes straight back, and I'm going to have my cousin cut that outlet off, weld the hole up, and we're actually going to bring the outlet out at an angle. So there's going to be a pipe basically coming out here and just going straight into the throttle body right here. And then we'll have our big purple blow-off valve, which I just got. It's actually sitting over there. You probably can't see it, but it's on top of the turbos that we got over there. But we're probably just going to mount the blow-off valve on top. We're not worried about keeping it under a hood because, hey, we don't even have a hood, right? So that's probably going to be the deal with that, guys. We'll do the air-to-air setup when we do the turbo conversion this winter, and then at some point down the road, what I really want to do is switch over to air to water, and I would like to do the Holley mid-ram with the sandwich intercooler, and that's why I was saying earlier it's probably gonna cost me about $2,000 by the time I buy the Holley intake, the sandwich intercooler, the water tank in the back, and the pump and everything. Yeah, it's gonna be right around $2,000. And now you know why we're not doing that right off the bat, because I don't have $2,000 to throw at it. The air-to-air, honestly, with our GT35s over there, the air-to-air intercooler ought to do just fine, and it'll be good for street driving and everything. I don't think those guys are going to be generating a ton of heat, at least not at the level we're going to be running at right now. I may not even worry about even thinking about going air to water until later on when we get the new engine built and larger turbos, all that jazz. So anyway, tomorrow after work, it's dark, guys. I think it's about 9:30, 10 o'clock right now. So I'm not driving this car tonight. Tomorrow after work, I will get this thing off the jack stands, take it down the road. We'll see if our oil leak is fixed. I keep saying oil. I don't know what's wrong with me. My brain's not working. But we'll see if our oil leak is fixed. See if we're leaking any transmission fluid still. Guys, I don't think it's anything to worry about right now. And as long as all that works out, we may see about taking this thing back to the drag strip again this coming Friday and working on tuning the nitrous. I still don't know what the issue is with it running rich. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm not going to worry about, hey, this is a 150 shot, this is a 175, whatever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the jet that is supposed to be a 150 shot. We're going to take it to the track, and I'm just going to keep dropping down jets on the fuel side till we get our air-fuel ratios dialed in. We'll see what kind of number it runs, and I should be able to figure out what we're running at that point, because I don't know what else to do, guys. I mean, we've switched solenoids, we've switched the jets, we've blown out all the lines. I can't figure out any reason for this thing to be running so rich on the nitrous. So I'm just going to play its game. I'm going to play the game that the car wants to play, and we're just going to step down on fuel jetting as far as we have to get the the air fuel ratios right, and see what happens. I mean, if there is some kind of issue and it's not, well, I know it's running. I was going to say, and it's not really running as rich as it says it is, but I know it is. I mean, I can tell. It's bogging. It's got, black smoke coming out. It's obviously running that rich. Something else that I have done, though, that I have not tried out yet, is I have went in the tune. I got tons of advice from Devin Vanderhoof. I got tons of advice from him, from Brent Spence, from some other people about changing some settings in the Holley for the self-correction. So I've actually went in and changed a bunch of that stuff. So I may actually test that out tomorrow too. I'm not going to worry about playing with the bottle tomorrow, but yeah, we'll probably just check, see if all the leaks are good now, test our settings that I've changed in the tune, see if it helps at all with the self-correction, and yeah, we'll go from there. So that's pretty much it, guys. So stay tuned for more updates, get out in the garage, get something done, and I'll see you next time here on Bad Luck Garage.